How's it going, everyone? We're back with another weekly watch list. Hope you all had a good week and a good weekend so far. It was a good week for me in the markets. I mean, look, it's always a good week, red or green, right? Staying disciplined, following your rules, getting better each week, little by little. That's it, you know? I've been making these watch lists now. It's officially for 3 years. I started these watch lists in August of 2023 when I was only like 8 months, 9 months into trading full time at that point. And by full time, I don't mean like it was my main source of income. I'm a business owner. That's still my main source of income. But trading is getting there. And I feel very blessed and pleased to say that. And I'm just looking to keep it up the momentum. That's it. Just trust in God, stay disciplined, give back when I can, and just keep putting the work, as cliche as that may sound. So if you're along with the journey, thanks so much for tuning in. Please consider dropping a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. It would mean the absolute world to me. But without further ado, let's hop right in. So start off with NQ, the NASDAQ. Really awesome stuff from the NASDAQ. Look at this daily chart. All right, look at this. Weekly highs, daily highs, all-time highs. Where do we bounce? That exact spot, okay? Hopefully some of you maybe capitalized on the equity side of things. I know I did with a few stocks. When the NASDAQ had this bounce and the trend shifted, right? That's really what I was looking for. I rarely swing options to the downside. It's really only to the upside. So I was just patiently waiting for when I saw like the NASDAQ kind of flip. And where we can see that is on the 4-hour chart. So let's go to the 4-hour now. This major zone, okay, from 29,208 to 29,365. Huge spot on the NASDAQ. Support, support, support. We broke below. Look at this higher low. Boom. When we reclaimed above this spot right here. This is textbook here. We reclaimed this area. This is what you want to see when it comes to support and resistance. If that's your style of trading, I fully expect, again, could be wrong, fully expect the NASDAQ to make a higher high this week. First resistance, 30,000, right? Break over the previous day high. I'll be watching upside up to 30,000. That's my next resistance zone. Then above that, this 30,273 to 30,366. You get above that, I have 30,600, and then really you're back at all-time highs, 31,000. As far as downside goes, there is room underneath the PDL down to this 29,208 support again. So I'll watch that, but that is obviously scalping opportunities. You're shorting into demand. Obviously not my favorite look, but there is room there, right? If we take it down to like a shorter time frame, of course, as you can see, if we get below the PDL, there's definitely room down here, okay? So that's a huge spot on the NASDAQ. That's gonna be my main focus of the week. Like, look at these highs, look at this low. I mean, that's textbook. So let's see if the NASDAQ can put in to get over this highs. Because here are 1, 2, 3, 4 rejections. This is a big spot, 30,000, huge psychological level. You know, it'll be really interesting to see what the NASDAQ does this week. All right, going over to QQQ, obviously very similar, just a little bit different because of the contract change on the NASDAQ. But you can see right here, former highs, low, right? Over PDH. Like, here's the thing. For upside, I really need to see it get over 728, right? Like, I'm not going to long over previous day high. Well, man, that's tough. See, this is where I even, like in my own trading, right? I hesitate a little, right? Because we have this supply zone right up here, but technically there is $5 worth of room. So if we get over the PDH, I'm sure I'll watch upside. I mean, that's enough to 725 and 728, but it's something where I'm looking to take off. If I'm in a trade and it's moving in my favor, I'm taking off most of my position, you know, and only leaving a couple runners into that supply. Because again, that is a major supply. You can see it on the NASDAQ, right? Multiple rejections, strong rejections. So really, like, what I'd like to see this week on the 4-hour is the NASDAQ get above these highs, right? And turn this into support. Yes, we have a high above that 732, but it's just one previous day high. My next major resistance is really 737, and then you're back at all-time highs. Let's go to ES, all right? So ES, we broke out of this like major like kind of bull flag that we saw, this whole downtrend, whatever channel, really just turned into like a big old bull flag essentially. So we broke out of that. We're at a pretty major spot here. Obviously the market's pretty extended right now, but then the S&P is holding this previous all-time high, right? Previous all-time high from 77.43 to 77.23. Okay, that was the PDL, I believe, on, what was that, like Thursday or something? Yeah, so get below this. I'll look at shorts down to 7,700 and then 76.56. There's obviously a lot of room down there, right? Like if we break below, come on, man. Come on, think or swim. If we break below this previous all-time high zone, there's a lot of room down for sure. Back down to 76.56. far as upside goes, pretty clear shot, right? Like over previous day high, up to 7,800 and 7,820, that all-time high. We'll see where the futures open up tonight. Again, when the market gets to this like irrational, if you will, like this obviously just straight up, it can continue to be irrational. So I'm not thinking like, oh, we have to pull back, we have to retest. It can just keep going straight up. We've seen that actually several times in the last couple years. Man, this was a crazy spot on, was it Thursday or Friday? I think it was Thursday, yeah. We broke below this PDL here on like Wednesday's previous day low, and there was just nothing but room down under that all-time high zone, but it kind of just trapped. Like I caught a piece, but you didn't really get a lot of room. Like I was in a short trade here under that level, and it really only got like what 30-40%. Again, I don't want to say only, that's always great, but yeah, it was here. You had to be quick. It was this retest right here. We broke below, retested here at 11:30, got this move down, but that was it. And then you had another retest, but I was gone at that point, got my money and was out of there. Got another move down, but that was it. This was something where I was like, man, if this breaks, you could get a violent move down, but kind of swept and held. So we'll see if the S&P wants to stay strong. On that note, we'll go over to SPY. So again, pretty simple, right? Break over previous high. Be watching calls at 776. Break below the PDL and 767. I'll watch downside back to SPY's all-time high at 760. So we haven't retested it on the SPY yet. So we'll see if S&P is weak. This is your shot. Look at this straight up move, right? So if we break below 767, I definitely would love to capitalize on this move back down to the previous all-time high. Maybe look to capitalize on it again for longs on the way back up. So that could be a really good opportunity coming up. All right, Apple. So Apple's actually worrying me a little bit. I do have a leap on Apple once we had that massive earnings drop. Right, we had this big earnings dip. I had my long spot was 302, 303, right, and that was from these highs here. We retested that, as you can see, really nicely. So it's been up 30-45% at the highs. I was really looking for this gap fill up to 329. It still could do it. I just don't like to look at this bear flag. It looks like it's doing exactly what it did the last time I had a leap on Apple. I had a leap on Apple, the previous all-time highs, went up like 30%. And then I saw this bear flag forming, saw all these daily rejections, cut the leap for like a very small gain, like 2-3%, essentially break even. Switched to puts, made 200%, which was awesome. And then, of course, missed all this on the leap. Like, yeah, sure, the drawdown was probably like 40% maybe on that leap. But, I mean, that shit went like 300% after that, of course. But we're kind of getting something again here on Apple. I would love to see the daily gap fill at 329 for the leap that I currently have for January expiration. But, like, look at this again. It looks like we're bear flagging again. We were rejecting. That 316 was the first spot I was watching. And I was considering trailing my stop at this area, right? Like once we got, and we had a really sharp rejection there on Thursday and Friday. I believe actually just Thursday. I'll go to that in a second. But Apple's at a really interesting spot. I'm watching this really close. So these major highs, we got to get over that to fill the gap. I think if you do, then you will fill the gap. But it's a really interesting spot here. I'm watching close. I'm watching the option that I have very close. It was a very sharp rejection here, right at that 316. I mean, look at that. That was awesome. If you had a short position there, congrats. That's awesome. That's really good trading. But it's going to be interesting to see. So that'll be my thesis on Apple. Tesla, honestly, nothing really honestly, I'm just waiting until we get into some major key levels to see what happens. Like, do we bear flag, right, up to this 342 area and reject? I mean, that's like my main thesis going right now on Tesla, right? We've been selling off a lot. We're been in a downtrend. We gapped down, major daily lows. We opened and rejected. Do we bear flag back up until we reject again, or do we reclaim and fill the gap? Because if we reclaim this with strength, I definitely like longs to fill this gap at 372. All right, let's go to NVIDIA. I'm waiting for NVIDIA 212 retest. Finally over 212. I have an alert, as you can see. It's a gap fill now. Please, NVIDIA, please give us the setup. I want it so bad. We've gapped up and no retest. Please, right? So can we break below? We have a lot of demand here down to 214.78. If we can get below that and retest this 212, 213 daily gap, these former highs, come on. Can we get it, NVIDIA, or is it just going to go without us? Because I'm not going to chase. I want to see long, retest long. There we go. AMD haven't been paying too much attention to, of course, updating the levels, but it's been a mess. I mean, look at this daily chart. That doesn't look very strong. So as far as levels go, previous day high, previous day low. For sure, there's upside over 500, downside under 475 and 471. You know, it's in like a decent channel here, like all these major lows. Like this is definitely a pivotal spot, 498 to 502, multiple lows, broke below, rejected, swept, all that jazz. So that's my thesis on AMD, not much. Google, all right, Google had earnings leaps, sold them at 385. Very fortunate on my end, literally was the top. Unfortunately, there was like some bad news with Google. Can't remember exactly what it was. I don't know if I want to dig through all this, but nonetheless, it was in there. But nonetheless, got out at the top. That was really nice. I had a trailing stop going because that was my target anyways, was like 383, 385, this daily high here, and ended up having a really sharp sell-off. So we'll see what happens on Google. As far as levels go, previous day high, previous day low are not relevant because it was such a tight range. So I just have them marked just like look at this. That's not really relevant. So let me go to the 4 hour. So as far as 4 hour goes, we're back down below that previous all-time high. Or no, I'm sorry, we added. Let me check the 4 hour again real quick. So we're kind of testing it right now, right? Oh wait, hold on, am I blind? There we go. No, we're not. It's here, 349. So, you know, do we come here and bounce this weekly high again, or do we just break low and continue lower? So again, I banked nicely, 102% on leaps off that earnings dip that we had from here to here. Got in around like right at 330. Took it up to 385, 102%, really nice, okay? But we'll see what Google wants to do. We'll see if it wants to stay weak. As far as gaps go, we filled this gap here. We do have another daily gap actually right here, right? Yep, we do, so we got to put that in. So there's a daily gap 337. So let's see, you know, what happens there. That's really all I have to say about that. As far as day trading goes, I mean, you know, if we get over previous day high, there's room up to 364. It's just been such a weak stock, all this selling. I don't know if I really want to try day trading longs. Amazon obviously had that run up to the all-time highs. I did sell one of my Amazon leaps there as well for 216%, so that was great. But clearly, you know, that's also not a great looking daily candle. Looks like Amazon might want to give back some of these gains, maybe fill some gaps. I mean, we have a gap all the way down to 239. That'd be insane. But I think first things first, maybe is like retesting this daily low. We have all types of demand as well. So like if we go to the 4 hour, let's see here. Yeah, like let me zoom in here for you. So 4 hour demand here, 263 to 266, and then another 4 hour demand that already bounced once from 269 to 270, 271, right? So this demand here has already bounced once, twice. Maybe it gets a retest. As far as upside goes, I'll watch longs over the previous day high, which is also that all-time high level. As far as downside goes, I honestly am not interested until we like, I'm really just not interested in downside. I mean, we have all this demand. Like, sure, I could rip right through it, but I don't want to be shorting into all this demand, right? I mean, yes, it's a straight up move, but just based off my trading, technical analysis, like I don't want to be shorting into all this demand. So maybe we come down and retest 260. So that's going to wrap it up. I mean, some other watches right now. Bloom, still waiting for this. This was insane. I just missed this. I can't remember why. I think it was after the market close. Maybe it wasn't. Or maybe it was around earnings. But I was waiting for this retest on Bloom Energy, these weekly highs, and it's been awesome. I mean, look at that. So I'm waiting to see if we get another dip back down to get long there. NBIS, same thing. I know they have earnings coming up. So we already went over this in a previous watch list, but this 140 retest was awesome on the 4 hour. But again, it was just when the market was closed. I mean, Hood. Again, I've had alerts on Hood too, but again, it's been very weak. Looks like we're bear flagging right here. Let's see if the 61 wants to hold up. Obviously, if we get back down to 66, I'd love to long that again. But that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully it's a good week in the market. Hopefully you guys have a great week inside and outside the market. Thank you so much for tuning in. Catch you in the next watch list. If you did enjoy, please consider dropping a like, commenting, subscribing. It would mean the absolute world to me. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.